everybody. Oh, look, Facebook sort of decided when I was going to start this this session today. I didn't realize I hit live, but here I am. And hopefully here you are. So I'm going to take a moment to settle a little bit, and you go ahead and do the same. Welcome. I'm Rhonda Uretsky. I'm the owner of Riverflow Yoga, a hot yoga studio here in Lambertville, New Jersey. And right now, our studios, our hot yoga studios and other yoga studios are right here in our homes. All of our teachers from Riverflow Yoga are going to be offering you daily yoga courses right here on Facebook Live. You know, we chose to do it on Facebook Live so they could just sort of pop up whenever you happen to be in the mood to do yoga class, or you happen to feel like you need a break in your day, or you need a moment to yourself. Some of our yoga classes are going to be very vigorous hot yoga classes, and some of them are going to be what I'm calling these Blissful Warrior Midday Meditations. So what do I mean by being a blissful warrior? Well, it really isn't a war out there, but it is challenging. There are some challenging things going on, to say the least. And, you know, I guess the first thing I want to say to you is whatever it is that you feel challenged about is perfectly okay. You're entitled to your feelings. If you feel challenged by people wearing face masks, or if you feel challenged by people telling you you have to wear a face mask, that's okay. You're entitled to whatever it is you feel about it. You know, if you feel challenged by, being told that you can't go to a park, a local park that's by your home, or if you feel challenged by looking out your window and seeing people congregate in the local park that's by your home, it's really okay. There are just so many different things happening out there, and they are changing constantly. I think that we are, as human beings, we sort of like for things to be the same in a certain way. We like to have routines. We like to have some certainty, things that we can hold on to. You know, for me, one of the biggest things that this is reminding me is that there is no such thing as certainty, that things are constantly changing whether we notice it or not. And that doesn't have to be bad news. And I also want to acknowledge that there are some people in this situation who are doing very well. And when I talk to these folks, they almost seem embarrassed or reluctant to say how much they are enjoying being home from work, or having more time with their children, or being able to walk the dog outside and have the neighborhood relatively free. And, you know, they're really almost afraid to talk about how good they're feeling during this time. So I want to say that whatever you're feeling is fine. If you're not feeling great about it, if you're feeling upset and activated and worried about money or your business closing, or navigating all of the loan situations out there, that's fine too. Just like there are a variety of people out there, more than you might have thought. You know, even if you're used to sort of staying within your own tribe, you think everybody is sort of like you. And to an extent, the people that you tend to congregate around, or the people that come into your life, do tend to be like you. But we sort of forget that that ain't all there is. There are varieties of people that have varieties of preferences, varieties of thoughts and ways of doing things. And we also seem to have this idea that we need to convince everybody to think in a certain way, or act or be in a certain way. And I know there are all sorts of good arguments for the health conditions, why people should all wear face masks or all be washing their hands all the time. And I'm not going to get into the details of whether these things are right or wrong. I'm just going to suggest that it's good to notice that there are varieties of people out there. And everybody has their own thoughts, their own beliefs, their own ideas. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe living in a diverse world where there is incredible variety and constantly adding more, maybe that's part of what makes life interesting. Again, we all think we want certainty and we want things to stay the same, but not so much. If you think about waking up to the same exact thing every day, maybe you have, to some degree in your life, been waking up to the same routine every day. It's not all that much fun. It might give you a sense of safety and security, but it's not all that much fun. So maybe in this time, we can do what a friend of mine suggested the other day, which is just take everything off the table. Take everything off the table. Everything that you thought you knew, everything that you thought was going to turn out a certain way, all the strategies that you've applied to your life, even the stuff you've been taught and told that maybe it really isn't working out so great for you. Maybe it's just a really good opportunity to take all of it off the table and see what actually unfolds for you personally. Again, I understand that there are people who are dealing with some stressful situations. A lot of people dealing with a variety of stressful situations. But what I'm suggesting is that you can still approach these situations as if there aren't any rules. There isn't any way you're supposed to handle this. There isn't any evaluation of your reaction to things that are going on around you. There's just you right now. Maybe that's never been more true than right now. There really is just you. And maybe it's a good time to let go of the self-judgment and those thoughts that you have about yourself that don't serve you. I showed this yesterday. I'm going to show it again. Bear with me one moment while I grab it. So this is my trusty glitter wand. And I want to suggest that what's going on out there can make you feel like this inside. Right? This wand is actually kind of pretty with all sorts of stars and moons and hearts glittering around. But when you get shaken up on the inside and things start moving at a pace that you can't control and your nervous system gets really activated, it doesn't feel that pretty. It doesn't feel that pleasant. And being activated can happen in a second. You can start off in a place where you kind of wake up feeling good, and then something happens, and before you know it, you're shaken up. And maybe it's not even something that's happened on the outside of you. Maybe you just have a thought or a memory, or you're just picking up yesterday's stress when you wake up in the morning. And all of a sudden, everything can feel sort of upside down and going in directions that you can't control. Well, I'm going to suggest that while you might not be able to control the outside conditions that have sort of caused this response in you, that there are some tools that you can use to calm this situation, this chaos. Notice that if I stop shaking up this glitter globe, this glitter wand, eventually it will just settle. I don't actually have to do anything to it. It's what I stop doing to it that causes some settling. So again, I'm just waiting and waiting, and I'm noticing that it's really settling. This beautiful thing we have called gravity that sometimes we think is pulling us down. Mary is on my call here. Mary is the head of the Neuro Alignment Institute, and she's the person that I learned this from. She's a beautiful, well-respected, amazing person who combines neurology, the study of how the brain works and the nervous system, with how do you put it into practical use in your life. So this glitter wand is something that I learned from Mary. And what Mary has taught me is that if you simply, no matter how activated this thing might look, if you simply stop activating it, it will settle down on its own. And that's what can happen for you in your own nervous system, no matter what the situation is. So how do you stop activating something that's really disturbing you? Well, one of the ways is to just put it aside for a moment. And let's just start by taking 3 deep breaths. So find a comfortable place to sit. It could be on the floor. It might be in a chair. Just because I'm sitting here cross-legged on the floor in a very yoga-looking position doesn't mean you have to. If you feel comfortable sitting in a chair, go ahead and sit back in that chair. Let your arms fall naturally, maybe to your sides. I have mine right here balanced on my knees with my palms facing up. You might have your palms on your thighs, your feet on the floor. Let's just start by taking 3 deep breaths. There's something pretty magical about the number 3. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths. And as we take these deep breaths, I'm going to give you some little posture tips on ways to align your body to actually receive the full benefit of the feeling of these 3 deep breaths. So whether you're sitting on the ground or sitting in a chair, or you could be lying down on the floor or lying in a bed, nobody's there to tell you it's wrong. So just allow yourself to get comfortable. You can close your eyes, or you can keep your eyes all the way open or half-masked, whatever feels good to you in this moment. You're going to practice 3 deep breaths. So as you inhale, you'll hear the breath come in through the back of your throat. It comes in through your nose, clearly, but what you're going to hear is a big loud ha sound at the pit of your throat, like an ocean wave. Inhale. And as you inhale, pull your collarbones wide apart, right? As if your collarbones are sort of being pulled by this traction machine side to side. So notice there's no jerking of the shoulders or thrusting of the chest. It's just this side to side movement. And as you exhale, again, hearing it through your nose, letting it pass through the back of your throat, just let your chin drop just a little bit, just to counterbalance that stressful head thrust that we all tend to do a little bit. So inhale, hear it in the back of your throat, pull your collarbones wide. And as you exhale, let your chin drop a little bit. Let your head come backwards a little bit. Again, it's the little head thrust that we all have, the chin thrust, that just takes your head a little bit off center from your neck. If you can imagine that someone has 2 fingers on your chin, and they're just pushing your chin back, right? Not leaning all the way back. It's just your chin. So your head kind of comes back. And again, inhale, pull your collarbones wide. And exhale, drop your chin. Bring your head back a little bit. And now drop your tailbone down. So if you're sitting, let your tailbone feel like it's kind of curling under a little towards your belly. And if you're lying down, feel like you're dropping the small of your back into somebody's palm. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, collarbones wide. So even I noticed that my shoulders are just tending to hunch in a little bit, right? I had a little bit of an activating situation this morning, and it just keeps coming back on me unless I just let it go, collarbones wide. And as you exhale, letting your chin just relax down a little bit, sort of putting your head back on your neck a little bit, hearing the exhale in the back of your throat, and letting your tailbone drop down a little, and maybe up and under a little, so kind of towards your belly. At some point when you're in your seated position or your lying down position and you've taken some deep breaths, you begin to feel your body differently. There's a kind of lightness that you feel. Or listen, maybe you don't feel it right now. Don't think you're doing anything wrong. You're here, you're breathing, you're doing everything just right. Give yourself that permission to be right. To be perfect just as you are right now. Inhale. And exhale. Sometimes, interestingly enough, what can really settle your body is to have an invigorating yoga practice. So today we're going to do that. We're going to do the standing poses of our more vigorous, maybe more challenging, but after all these years of doing it, I find it just as relaxing, our hot yoga class. Now, you don't have to have a heater. Normally, when we do our hot yoga class, I do recommend that you have a heater beside you to warm your body. If you have a space heater, it's always nice to have your body a little warm, so go ahead and do that. In fact, I'm sort of going to recommend that any yoga that you do, it's really nice if you can get yourself a little heater, just focus it on you, preferably a little radiant heater, and let your body feel warm as you do these poses. You'll warm from the inside eventually, but it's sort of nice to start with that little blanket of warmth over you, and make sure you have water. So, in fact, if you don't have water, I'm going to give you a moment to go get some, and as you're doing that, I'm going to take a sip. Really important to remind yourself to drink clean water. And by clean water, I mean not tea, not coffee, even though it's made with water. You really want just water throughout your day. I'm sort of a camel. I can really chug a lot of water and I don't feel like the need to pee. It just feels really good to me. But you go ahead and sip water at the level that feels good to you. Okay, so everybody has some water. So stand up wherever you are. I'm going to teach you a really beautiful way to stand up. If you'd like to try this, if you're sitting on the ground, if you're sitting in a chair, standing up is certainly easy enough. But if you're sitting on the ground, you can place your fingertips on the ground in front of you. And you can come forward into your knees and then curl back onto the soles of your feet. Walk your fingertips in towards your feet and hang here for a moment. Just letting your arms be really limp and your head be really limp. And then very slowly, as if somebody is picking you up from a string at your back, keeping everything limp from your arms, keeping your head hanging so much it feels like it's sort of tucked into that little hollow space between your collarbones, feeling like your back is a slinky and you are stacking one coil on top of the other. You're going to bring yourself up to standing. And when you're at standing, bear with me here one moment. The joy go. All right. I think we just came back. We lost network for a moment. Okay, so standing up on your space, right? Your yoga mat, your towel. You don't need any fancy props, especially now, right? Nobody's there to watch you. No one's there to judge what you're wearing or what kind of yoga tools you have. You're just here to feel good. So, when you're here doing yoga and the point is to soothe yourself, don't start by beating yourself up for what you can't do or what you don't have. Just stand still. You have this. You have all you need. Arms at your sides, palms facing forward. Bring your toes and heels together all the way and flush them up nice and tight so there's no space between your toes and heels. Push the inner edges of your ankle bones together and you're going to feel a lightness in your feet as you transfer the weight of your body up into your thigh muscles. So you're feeling like you almost want to suck your thigh muscles up into your hips. And then you can rotate your knees inward a little bit, right? You don't want to be knock-kneed, but most of us have a little turnout of the knees. We walk like this, right? Kind of walk like ducks. So that wreaks havoc with your ligaments in your knees and stuff that goes on in your hips. So now you get to correct that just by standing properly. And it feels better. Not properly in terms of being right or wrong, just in terms of it feeling better to you. So you lock your thighs and lift them up and rotate your knees in. Your palms are turned forward. Your collarbones continue to pull wide. Notice a really interesting thing that happens. If you pull your collarbones side to side and you let your arms be limp, they're going to hang pretty far away from your body. You're not pushing them out, right? It's just where they go. And it feels very relaxing. Your hands are relaxed. Let your chin drop a little. Bring your head back onto your neck a little. Go back to locking your thighs, lifting them up and rotating your kneecaps in. Let's take a deep breath here. Inhale. Notice when you inhale and exhale, your shoulders go up and down. That's just an old habit. But if you can get used to or remember this idea of the collarbones sort of hooked up to this traction machine that pulls you wide apart, Your shoulders can't move up and down because they're being pulled side to side. And inhale. And exhale. Just want to take a moment to say hi, Robin. It's been a long time. And of course, Mary and Paula. Here we go. We're going to start with pranayama, standing deep breathing. Now, this is a beautiful breathing pose that really infuses your entire body with oxygenated blood. So it's a lot of breath. If you feel a little dizzy afterwards, it's perfectly okay. As a matter of fact, whatever you feel during or after these poses is perfectly okay, except pain. If you're doing anything that causes you to feel pain, I'm going to ask you to back the pose down. You can just go a little more gently into it, or you can stand right here in your Shavasana pose. This is a pose, and it's extremely powerful in how restorative it is. All right, so pranayama, standing deep breathing. I'm going to give you a little bit of a side view. Toes and heels together all the way. Thigh muscles tight and lifted. Bend your elbow tips, clasp all 10 fingers. 2 inches, not 2 inches, clasp all 10 fingers together. Bring your knuckles up under your chin. Now, notice how I thrust my chin forward to get my knuckles up under there. You probably did too. It's all right. Just bring your chin down again. See if you can feel like your elbow tips are going to touch each other so your shoulders stay down. Pick a point on the wall in front of you where you're going to keep your eyes focused as you lock your thighs and lift them up. That point on the wall in front of you called your drishti. It's your point of balance. So looking into your own eyes. You might want to watch these first few breaths if you haven't done this before, but I will give you very detailed instructions so you can follow along. And we're going to do 10 of these. So getting ready and begin. As you inhale through your nose, hear it in the back of your throat, lift your elbows up to the ceiling and pull your shoulders away from your ears. Stomach in, thigh muscles tight and lifted, drop your tailbone down, rotate your kneecaps in. Now as you exhale, head back, mouth open, eyes open. Pretend you're fogging a mirror on the ceiling with your breath as your wrists, forearms, and elbows squeeze together. Your elbow tips are up off your chest and they're pulling forward. And inhale. Elbows apart and up, shoulders down away from your ears. Hear that loud ha sound in your throat. Stomach in, thigh muscles tight and lifted, kneecaps turned in, tailbone drop down. Exhale, head back. Mouth open, making a big ha sound through your mouth. Bringing your wrists, your forearms, and your elbow tips together. Really press your elbow tips together and pull them forward. Feel that beautiful dragging forward of your shoulders. Inhale. Elbows apart and up. Shoulders down from your ears. So you're engaging in this little tug of war between the elbows and the shoulders. The elbows go up to the ceiling and the shoulders stay down. Bring your elbow tips a little behind your head. Stomach in. Thigh muscles tight and lifted. Tailbone dropped. Exhale. Head back. Mouth open. Eyes open. Bringing your wrists, your forearms, and your elbow tips together. Really squeeze your elbow tips and feel like you're pulling them into the front wall in front of you. Inhale. Keep your palms parallel to the floor. As your elbows go up, draw your shoulders away from your ears even more. Stomach in, thigh muscles tight and lifted, kneecaps turned in, tailbone drop down. Exhale. Head back, mouth open, eyes open. Big ha sounds, like a great big sigh of relief. Your wrists, your forearms, and your elbow tips are creating kind of a pump that squeezes the stale breath out. And inhale. Feel like you want your elbow tips to go through the ceiling, but behind your ears. So you're pulling back, and you feel that pulling across the collarbones. Tailbone down, exhale. Head back, mouth open, eyes open. Big ha sound as the wrist, forearms, and elbow tips squeeze together tight. And 2 more. Inhale, elbows apart and up. Eventually, your arms come up by your ears. Looks like these little wings at your head. Elbow tips behind you. Stomach in. Thigh muscles tight. Kneecaps turned in. Tailbone drop down. Exhale. Head back. Mouth open. Eyes open. Fog up that imaginary mirror on the ceiling with your breath as your wrists, forearms, and elbows squeeze tight. And last one. Inhale. And exhale. Squeeze your elbow tips together. Pull your elbow tips and your shoulders forward. Forward pull and drop your arms down. Shavasana again. Inhale, turn your palms forward. Pull your collarbone side to side. Let your chin just drop level. And exhale. Ardha Chandrasana with Pada Hastasana, half moon with hands to feet pose. This is a fabulous pose, my friends. It works your slinky spine in all the directions that you can imagine a slinky can go. And you feel like a slinky in this pose if you follow some of these really interesting little tips and cues that I'm going to give you as we go along. So just take a deep breath first and feel relaxed. Inhale. And as you exhale, pull your collarbones wide. Tighten your thigh muscles, rotate your kneecaps in. Feel the strength of how easy it is to hold your body up when your larger thigh muscles are doing it and not your knees or your ankles. Now inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Clasp all 10 fingers together. First your hands are in prayer, then clasp all 10 fingers. Then just your pointer fingers are up and your thumbs across. Now here's one of the tips in this pose. If you can lock your arms to your head, the harder you lock your arms and legs, the lighter you're going to feel in this pose. You know, when your limbs are locked out, you are pumping blood up and down your limbs. So the blood doesn't get a chance to, say, pool in your shoulders or pool down at your ankles. This locking that you're doing creates like a sort of, not exactly peristalsis, but kind of a pumping that goes up and down your, you feel lighter. You almost feel like you can hold your arms up forever. So, okay, if you can't lock your elbows today, you're going to do these few things. You're going to press your palms together so there isn't any space between them. You're going to squeeze your head with your biceps. So rather than thinking about locking your elbows, you're going to think about drawing your biceps to your head as if your arms are holding your head onto your neck. Now leaning backwards into your heels, but keep your thighs locked and lifted. Push your hips a little forward. Lift up out of the center of your chest so you can really feel that slinky in your back get longer. Stay really elongated and just start to gently rock from side to side. But as you rock, you're pulling. So when you come to the right, you are pulling your pointer fingers to the top back right corner of the room and then back to center. Inhale, stretch. And as you exhale, you'll pull your pointer fingers to the top back left corner of the room and then back to center, stretch up. Now as we pull to the right again, imagine that you're rounding over a hurdle. Like there's a hurdle at your waist that you have to curl yourself over as you pull your pointer fingers and pull to the top back right corner of the room here, not the side wall. Keep the weight in your heels and your hips and thighs pushing forward, and then inhale back to center. Reach for the ceiling, squeeze your biceps to your head, and as you hold your breath, just exhale gently and pull to the left and let your right hip ease to the right. Now back to center again. And as you inhale, let's pull from your pointer fingers. Press your palms together. It's really easy to have no space between your palms, so press that. See if you can squeeze your head with your biceps, maybe behind your ears. Your chin is off your throat. Leaning the weight backwards into your heels. Push your hips and thighs a little forward. Keep your thighs locked and lifted. Stretch to the ceiling here. Holding your breath, start pulling to that top back right corner of the room. Keep your breath in. Keep your breath in. Keep your arms locked. Keep your thighs locked. And as you exhale your breath, you imagine rounding that hurdle at your waist and pushing your hip to the left. So when you push your hip to the left, it's more of an easing of your hip to the left. You relax it to the left as you keep your arms locked. So starting at the top, inhale and pull from your pointer fingers and press your palms so there's no space between them, not even the littlest bit. Squeeze your head with your biceps. See if you can move your arms a little behind your ears. Lean into your heels with your hips and thighs forward, and as you exhale, Just ease your hip to the left. Keep your arms locked as you let your left hip push, 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 and change. As you inhale, stretch back up to center. Squeezing your biceps behind your ears if you can. If you can't, that's all right, but you can press your palms together. Lean the weight backwards into your heels, pushing your hips and thighs forward. Lift as if you want your breastbone to be up towards your ceiling. Take your breath in, holding it here at the top, and as you hold your breath, start pulling to the top back left corner of the room. So again, it's a little bit behind you. You're pulling with your pointer fingers, and as you exhale your breath, you imagine rounding that hurdle at your waist and pushing your right hip to the right. Just stay right here. And we'll start the pose from here again as you inhale, pull. Pointer fingers pulling, palms pressed, arms behind your ears, chin off your throat, your armpits and hips feel square to the front. You lean the weight back into your heels. You can even lift your toes up, lock your thighs, rotate your knees in, and as you exhale, round the hurdle and push your hip to the right. So ease it out, let it push, 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 and change as you inhale back up to center. Now remember, your spine is a slinky, so there's no hard stack of bricks kind of vertebrae thing going on here. You've got this beautiful springy slinky in your body, and now you're just playing with it. So we're going to try a backward bend. As you inhale, pull up. Again, press your palms and squeeze your head with your biceps. Lock your thighs up, rotate your knees in, and as you exhale, let your head kind of squeeze backwards between your arms, dropping your head back and looking at your pointer fingers. Inhale, pull from your pointer fingers, lifting your breastbone towards the ceiling. As you exhale, just move your arms. You're watching your pointer fingers draw a line across the ceiling. You're thinking about bringing your arms beside your ears. You feel the weight in your heels, hips and thighs pushing forward, legs locked out. Inhale, lift your breastbone up. And as you exhale, move your arms just like you'd want them beside your ears. As you go back and then change. As you inhale, bring yourself back to center. Bring your head back between your arms and pull up towards the ceiling. Now I'm going to change my position, but you don't have to. As you exhale, see if you can keep your head squeezed between your arms and start to bend forward from your hips. Pull your pointer fingers into that front wall in front of you. Keep your eyes looking down the wall, coming all the way down with this lovely flat back. And then whenever your knees buckle, that's fine. Place your palms on the ground and hang your head as if you're trying to see your own throat. You really got to tuck that chin all the way in to relax your neck. And then you'll pedal your heels. Make sure you're in your palms, even if your knees are bent, that's fine, but pedal your heels left and right. Keep hanging your head, looking for your throat, left and right. This is a great opener for your hamstrings. And then you can put your heels down and pedal your knees and feel your hips start to move a little more. So great mobility for your hips and your lower back. Now bend your knees as much as you need to lay your chest flat against your thighs. Now from here forward, there's no space between the chest and thighs. Hang your head, tuck your chin, looking for your throat. Now tuck your hands behind your heels and underneath with all 10 fingers pointing forward. If you can't get your palms under your heels, then you can place your palms on your calves with your fingers facing down. But hang your head either way. And as you inhale, think about wrapping your elbow tips behind your calves, your shoulders come down, tuck your chin. And as you exhale, tighten your thighs, straighten your legs, begin to lift that slinky from the end of your tailbone up towards the ceiling, and eventually it'll be a straight slinky line from your tailbone to your head. It looks something like this. Inhale, elbow tips wrapping behind your calf muscles. Tuck your chin, and exhale, and start. and then change. So coming up out of the pose, your arms are beside your ears. You're pulling with your pointer fingers, getting that slinky to sort of stack itself. One coil on top of the other as you stretch to the ceiling. When you're at the ceiling here, take a moment to really stretch. Feel the length, feel the mobility, the freedom in your spine, and then drop your arms down. And be back in Shavasana. Take a breath. Inhale. And exhale. Now, if you just stand here for a moment, pull your collarbones wide, rotate your palms forward, lock your thighs, lift them up, rotate your knees in, push the inner edges of your ankle bones together, let your chin drop a little, and breathe. You begin to feel something going on in your body, or not. It doesn't matter. Try not to judge yourself if you don't feel any differently. Just stand here and enjoy breathing. Inhale. And exhale. One of the things that I've noticed interferes a lot with people's enjoyment of body movement is constantly checking in to see if they're getting anything. Are you getting any results? Just be here and enjoy having a body. Just for this hour that we're together. Breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, we're going to do a pose called Utkatasana, awkward pose. I think they should give it another name. Awkward sounds like it's sort of derogatory. It's not awkward at all. It feels great. Right foot steps to the right, 6 inches. Now you're going to take 2 fists and place them down between your feet to measure, and there's your 6-inch hip width distance. So you have this perfect measurement to keep your hips stable. And then stand up. Look down at your feet and make sure they're parallel looking, sort of like the letter H. And then bring your arms up to shoulder height. Again, I'm going to show you this on the side view. And at shoulder height, you're a total straight line from your shoulders to your fingertips. Now, here's how you can hold your arms up forever. Remember I told you that when your limbs are locked, you get this blood pumping through your limbs that sort of defies gravity? Well, you pull your fingertips forward, pull your shoulders down and back. So you're pulling in equal and opposite directions, and keep your arms locked into your rotator cuffs, and you'll feel like you can hold your arms up forever. I won't make you, though. It'll just be for a few moments. Take the weight into your heels. Breathe in. Now, as you exhale, bend your knees and stretch your tailbone through the wall behind you as you stretch your knees and fingertips through the wall in front of you. Keep your chin level. Sometimes there's a kind of propensity to thrust your chin out like this. That feels terrible. Just bring your chin down a little bit. Pull with your fingertips, shoulders down and back. Weight in the heels and stretch your tailbone all the way to a chair at the back of your room. Stretch and then change. Now lock your arms on the way up, fingertips pulling forward, shoulders down and back, and come up on your tippy toes. So you want to have the backs of your feet perpendicular to the ground. And here's a trick. You roll the weight from your pinky toes to the inner edges of your big toes and lock out your thighs. Keep your arms locked. Check in that they're still fingertips pulling forward, shoulders down and back. Inhale. Now as you exhale, you're going to bend your knees and lower yourself down on the tips, the inner edges of your big toes. Just keep lifting your heels, pulling with your fingertips. Keep your eyes on that place on the wall in front of you, and it's heels up, heels up, and change. Come on up, and your heels come down, but your arms stay up. So re-engage, fingertips forward, shoulders down and back. Now squeeze your knees and thighs in tight, like you're holding a $1 million bill between your knees. Squeeze it in. Inhale off your heels very slightly. And as you exhale, slowly and in control, glide yourself down this flat back wall behind you. Keep your knees squeezed. Now, if you have bad knees, you can put your hands down on the mat beside you like this and lean forward into them as you get your hips to your heels. When you're all the way down, squeeze your knees and thighs tight and tip your knees down a little bit. And if you feel ready, you can let your hips hover a little bit over your heels. And then change. Squeeze your knees and thighs and come up the back wall. And again, if you need your hands to kind of push you up that back wall, go ahead. And then arms down, legs together, and here you are, back in Shavasana. This is your home base. This is the place between the more active poses where you get to really feel like yourself. You know, sometimes you're in a pose, you're pushing the envelope a little bit, right? You're doing something that feels a little bit odd. It's not beyond natural human range of motion, but it's just a little different than movements you might do every day. But here in Shavasana, you feel like yourself. It's like you're returning to your home base. Palms face forward. Collarbones wide. Chin dropped a little. Thigh muscles tight and lifted. Kneecaps turned in just a little, and take a breath. Inhale. And exhale. All right, we're going to do Garudasana Eagle Pose. Now this is a really beautiful pose that works by cutting off circulation to various parts of your body. So when you come out of this pose, there's this fresh rush of oxygenated blood going through all of your joints. So coming back from Shavasana, let's pull the fingertips towards the ground. So feel like you want to touch the ground, but you're not going to move your arms. You just feel this beautiful drag in your shoulders. And inhaling more, bring your arms overhead, hands touch in prayer. As you exhale, swing your arms down in front of you and cross them at the elbows, right under left, forearms intertwined, hands in prayer, palm to palm, if you can. The important thing is for the thumbs to face your nose, so you have your shoulders in the right position. So sometimes you can just barely grab your thumb, so that's fine. Move your shoulders side to side. Try to keep your trunk stable. You're just going to feel this moving of your shoulders. Place your hands in the middle of your face and pull your elbows down towards your belly button. And as you inhale, bend both knees. Go for this nice deep sit, and then peel your right leg up, over and around, seeing if you can hook your right toes behind your left calf muscle. Now look, maybe you can and maybe you can't. It's just a fact of this moment. It doesn't matter. Be here to breathe and enjoy whatever you're getting, because I promise you that if you follow these instructions and do these poses to the best of your ability, you are getting 100% of the benefits that are available for you today, and that's all you want. You don't want to push yourself into a place where you're not ready to go. There's no benefits there. The benefits are where you are right now, squeezing your hands, arms, legs. Here's where you cut that circulation off to the 14 major joints of your body, and then release. And inhale, arms overhead. Hands touch in prayer. As you exhale, swing down without leaning your body forward, and cross your arms again, left under right. Forearms twisted, palm to palm as much as possible, but thumbs to nose, moving your shoulders. Pull your elbows towards your belly button. Center your hands, and as you inhale, bend both knees, sitting down, and as you exhale, left leg up, over, around, and hook those toes behind the calf muscle. Now maybe they do, maybe they don't, right? The moment that's true one way or another, you're going to shift your focus away from trying to get anything to happen. You're just going to feel this increased pressure, hands, arms, legs, cutting that circulation off, and then release. Inhale, arms overhead, hands in prayer. Exhale, drop. Shavasana. And inhale. And exhale. Boy, I used to be really, really out of breath after that pose. So if you feel out of breath after any of these poses, it's normal. You're doing a lot of work with circulation here. As we squeeze things down in these poses, you're getting what's called a tourniquet effect. You're squeezing down certain blood vessels of your body, and you're holding them closed, and then when you come out of the pose, it's like this dam bursts, and you get a fresh rush of oxygenated blood in that particular part of your body. And it might make your heart race a little bit. So that's good for building your heart muscle. It's really great for normalizing your circulation. So take a breath and know all the good you're doing for yourself. Inhale. And exhale. you guys feel ready, we're going to try some standing balancing poses. So sometimes in a class, the moment I say that, people start thinking, and they tell me this afterwards, oh, I'm not good at balance. Balance is, I'm not really great at balance. And you got all these reasons why you're not great at balance. So, okay, you got all the reasons, now drop them. And I'm going to teach you a way to balance that's going to feel new for you. Dandayamana Janyu Shavasana, standing forehead to knee. So what you're going to do is lock your left thigh muscle. So imagine that you're trying to sort of suck this thigh muscle up into your hip, right? Imagine this thigh muscle was like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle, and the open part of the puzzle is right here in your hip. So you're going to slide that piece right up. So you feel that internal kind of locking and lifting. Now your right leg, by comparison to your left, feels pretty light. So keeping your eyes on that wall in front of you, on that drishti spot, bend your right leg up at the knee and flex the sole of your foot. Now keep locking and lifting that little jigsaw piece puzzle of the left thigh muscle up into your hip. And lift your chest a little towards the ceiling and round backwards a little, sort of like you have a globe in your arms. And take your breath in. And as you exhale, if this is your first try at this pose, when you exhale, you're just going to clasp all 10 fingers 2 inches below the knee, and you're going to let your right leg relax, right foot relax. But if you've been with me a while and you want to go a little deeper, it's lift your chest, suck your stomach in, and as you exhale, swoop forward, engage all 10 fingers on the ball of your right foot. And here we're going to stay, locking that standing left thigh muscle. And keeping your eyes forward on that spot on the wall in front of you. I'm actually looking at a picture of my daughter. Really nice, pleasant thing to look at, helps you to relax. So if you're holding at the knee, stand up straight. And if you're holding at the ball of the foot and your standing leg is locked, you might want to go into the kick out. Now again, I'm just going to recommend this if you've been with me for a while, but I'm going to do it today because it feels good for me. And now change. Bring your right leg back down. Take a moment to breathe. And now we're going to lock that right thigh muscle up and play that little jigsaw puzzle game with the right thigh muscle, right? Locking and lifting. Feeling the difference between, your both of your legs are sort of standing, but the right one is really locked and the left one feels lighter. So now it's really easy to just lift that left leg up. Just keep locking that right thigh muscle. Suck your stomach in, lift your chest, round your back, and remember, if this is where you're going today, it's all 10 fingers 2 inches below this left knee, and you're going to continue to lock the right thigh muscle. And sometimes you'll fall out of the pose, and then you have a choice. Stand in Shavasana or come back in. Inhale. And swoop. So again, I'm going for the ball of the foot. And you're either holding 2 inches below the left knee or on the ball of the foot. If you're holding at the ball of the foot, you let your shoulders kind of slump forward. You keep that standing thigh muscle locked and lifted. And again, if you've been with me for a while and you'd like to try the kick out, please do. But don't push yourself to try it because those benefits might not be there for you today. If you feel really good holding 2 inches below the knee, then that's where you stay. And then change. Bring the left leg down and stand and take a breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, pull the collarbones wide apart like a side-to-side thing, like you could balance a yoke across your shoulders. You want to feel that straight line thing. And then just be curious about where your arms fall when your collarbones are wide. And let your chin drop level. And bring your head back. And tighten your thigh muscles and lift them up. Rotate your kneecaps in. Push the inner edges of your ankle bones together. And take a deep breath again. Inhale. And now as you exhale, felt so good. I'm going to do it again. Inhale. And as you exhale, rotate your palms to the wall behind you. And let your chin begin to drop towards your throat. In fact, you feel like you want to nestle your chin into that little notch between your collarbones. And then slowly start bending from your waist and letting your arms dangle. So they're going to feel really heavy. Now you keep looking for your own throat. Really want to let your neck relax. Let your shoulders droop. Let your arms just dangle as you bend from the waist, opening that slinky spine. Coming down slowly. When your fingertips touch the ground, tuck your chin again. Lean forward into your fingertips. Bend at the knees. Place your knees on the ground between your hands. Uncurl your toes. You'll be on the tops of your feet and sitting back. And inhale. And exhale. So when I'm sitting hips to heels, I like to have my palms in my lap. Palms facing up. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to do Ardha Karmasana, a really beautiful pose for just, again, feeling that slinky in your spine, that slinky that is your spine. Just feeling how beautiful it feels to pull it apart. Have you all played with slinkies? Am I dating myself here? Doesn't it feel great to have that spring in your hand? I mean, it feels like a really good solid thing, but it moves so easily. That's what you have in your spine. So every time we do these movements of your spine, that's what you're going to imagine is going on for you. Nice and easy. Inhale your arms overhead. Press your palms together. All 10 fingers are up towards the ceiling and cross your thumbs. As once again, you squeeze your biceps to your head. Now as you exhale, drop your tailbone down and tuck it under a little bit. And you can feel yourself being able to lift up more. Inhale. Now as you exhale, keep your head between your arms, keep your palms pressed together, and start pulling your fingertips towards the wall in front of you. So as long as you can, keep your head between your arms. As long as you can, keep your hips on your heels, and keep pulling, pulling, pulling with the fingertips forward until the spot between your eyebrows comes down and the blades of your pinky fingers. So your wrists are up. Your elbows are locked and behind your ears. Slide forward on the blades of your pinkies so you can really feel that slinky stretching. And breathe here. Chin away from your throat. And inhale. And exhale. Press into the blades of the pinky fingers, just like your hands are a garden spade and you're digging down with the edge of it so your wrists come up. Your elbows are locked behind your ears, your shoulders are pulling away from your ears, and your hips just naturally come closer to your heels, and you're getting this beautiful activation of your slinky all the way down to your tailbone. And change. As you inhale, press your palms together, squeeze your biceps behind your ears, and continue to want to pull your fingertips into the front mirrors. So you're controlling this beautiful ascent, this stacking of your slinky, one coil on top of the other, and stretch to the ceiling and drop your arms down. Now turn around and lie down on your back in Shavasana. So final Shavasana here. Lie on your back, arms at your sides. I'm going to talk you through this rather than do it myself. So your arms are at your sides, palms are facing up. Your heels are touching and your toes are flopped apart. And as you feel your heels touch and your toes flop apart to the sides, you can also feel your knees kind of falling out to the sides. So go ahead and let that happen. And your hips might fall to the sides. Let that happen. Tuck your chin. Now you can close your eyes if you'd like here. And as you inhale, pull your collarbones wide apart, even lying on the ground. As you pull your collarbones wide apart, you can feel your shoulder blades hit the mat. It feels so satisfying across your chest. And then as you exhale, you're going to deflate your belly and drop your lower back into that person's hand at the small of your back. And inhale, balloon your belly out. And exhale, just deflating, 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 and feeling yourself want to drop your lower back into that person's hand. Right? Somebody just slips their hand under the small of your back. And inhale. And exhale. So it can be really interesting to notice how a challenging or vigorous kind of yoga practice, if combined with breathing and mindfulness and maybe a little bit of self-congratulations, like being happy for yourself that you're doing this, not using this as an opportunity, another missed opportunity to feel good about yourself, but instead really noticing how good it feels to have a body and to be able to move in that body, and to, even if you can imagine, like I said, thinking of your body parts as just these naturally springy things that are built for flexibility and movement and freedom and alignment. So here in Shavasana, you are allowing your nervous system to get used to this beautiful idea that your body is your friend. It's not this thing that you have to constantly be vigilant about because it's trying to kill you somewhere in the background, right? That's sort of how we feel about our bodies all the time, like we're at war with them. You know, we have to keep watching over it, making sure that it's not doing something that we're not noticing. Test it and bring it to specialists and make sure that they can see the things that we don't see. But maybe, just maybe, your body is your ally. It's at least your vehicle for being able to move through this life in a way that pleases you, in a way that feels good to you. And there are so many things going on behind the scenes in your body that are all for your benefit. There isn't any conspiracy going on there to kill you. There is actually a conspiracy going on to make you feel incredibly stable and well in your body, and vital and happy and free. So lie here in Shavasana and sort of feel that, right? As you lie still, without you putting any resistance on top of this body, whether it's emotional resistance or mental thoughts, beliefs about yourself that don't make you feel good, or thoughts about old injuries, if you can just clear all of that away, you get back to this beautiful glitter wand. Now, if you're lying in Shavasana and your eyes are closed, you don't see it right now, but remember what I showed you in the beginning of class that Mary taught me? This glitter wand, right? All of this beautiful activation. Now you can imagine that all of this activation isn't the chaos in your nervous system at all. It's the beautiful harmony of everything in your body working together for your benefit. It's really rather beautiful. Well, I hope you can feel the beauty of your body right now. I hope you can feel calm in your life. And even if you just go forward for the next 5 minutes and take this person, this body with you into the next 5 minutes, well, that's 5 minutes of feeling like yourself today. And maybe that's enough for today. And maybe you'll want more. So come back and join me. We are here on Facebook Live from Riverflow Yoga every day, 2 and 3 classes a day. You can find our full schedule on our website at riverflow-yoga.com/schedule, or you can just like our Facebook page, and every time we're here, we'll just pop up to be with you. And hopefully, when you find us, it's exactly the time that you need us. Om Shanti. Beautiful sharing yoga with you today. I sure feel good. See you soon.